Hello, everyone. I am Sandra Coker, host of the People Profit Podcast and CEO of Human Power Solutions. Today, I am so excited to be here with Diana Fioravanti Ashqui. I always screw that up, Diana. I'm sorry. President and CEO of Kune Nagel in Canada. Diana and I recorded a podcast episode that's so powerful about flipping the switch on leadership and building a culture that people actually want to stay in, and what it really takes to earn things like gender parity and great place to work recognition. In this quick LinkedIn Live, we're going to give you a sneak peek behind the episode and a couple of practical ideas you can take back to your team right away. Diana, thank you for being back. We really appreciate it.
Super excited to be back and excited about our show to air.
I know I am too. So it airs on Monday, November 24th, I think that is. So Diana, for the folks who don't know you yet, can you share who you are and what you do at your company?
Absolutely. So I actually started my career in insurance and risk management and had no idea. I was ready solving problems for clients in their supply chains and in their businesses. Had no idea I would ever end up leading a global company for Canada. And I right now lead Kuehne+Nagel. So we do freight forwarding, logistics, warehousing across the country. But I've had a lot of roles throughout my career with risk management, insurance, and now logistics. And every role sort of taught me one thing, and that is people and culture drive everything. And so
Love
that
it.
is really my motto and the truth behind the backbone of my book, Flip the Switch.
Yeah, I'm so excited about your book. I'm so excited about that. And our full conversation on the People Profit podcast, we really dug into your leadership journey. And I want you to share with the audience maybe what's one pivotal moment that really, when you really had to flip the switch as a leader.
So there's been quite a few, but when I took on this role, particularly coming in from an insurance financial services background, I was the first female in this role. I was
Mm,
the first coming in without that freight forwarding background. And so I was flipping the switch already with the mindset of those in the audience. And so I knew coming in, I had to make my mark and I had to find a way to do things differently to show them a
yeah.
bit of a different way. My motto is always keeping it real. So my first year, I really focused on getting to know the organization from the bottom up. I went to
Yeah.
every single site, learned the business from the eyes of those in the front lines, and utilized my years and years of business and sales experience with customers to really drive some serious synergies with our people to move the business forward. And I think, overall, there's a lot of naysayers when I came into that role, and I
Yeah.
think I flipped the switch on the culture over the last 3 years, but that first year was pivotal in building the foundation in order for me to build the momentum that we needed to do and the trust with the organization, especially as we're entering into uncertain times, which I know we dug into in the podcast
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. You talk about your like keep it real leadership philosophy. What does the real stand for, and how does it actually show up in your day-to-day leadership?
Yeah, so keeping it real for me was a fun slogan, but really it means the world and the foundation of who I am. And R stands for resilience. So every missed shot teaches us more than the ones that we don't take. So
Yeah.
although I come from a risk management background, I'm very much about risking forward. I
Hmm.
realized when I first came into the organization that there's a lot of people that were, they were stagnant and they were fearful of making that decision and taking that next
Yeah.
step, and that's where innovation stagnates. So I needed to kind of propel it forward. So is resilience is really important to my keeping it real philosophy. Empathy is a big one. It's not about lowering the bar here. It's about raising the standard of how people are supported to meet
Mm,
that bar. So walking with them and not walking ahead or below them.
yeah.
A is for authenticity. So leadership is imperfect, and it's a lot about we become real in that messy middle. And so for me, authenticity is defined as your values, your beliefs, and your behaviors. And typically the only thing anybody sees on the outside is your behaviors. And
Yeah.
so how you show up and how you act is really the perception and the reality of others. And so I've had to keep it real and showcase that messy sometimes, and how, we get through that is really important for people to see. I always say that, leadership is practiced, it's not polished. So, keeping it real and keeping it messy sometimes is what helps people believe, right? And want them to
Yeah.
move forward. And finally, the L is legacy. A lot of people, a lot of
Mm,
leaders look at, for themselves, what's my next step? Where am I going to go? And forgetting about what they're doing today and really the legacy that they're leaving behind, and how people are going to be able to move forward without you when you expire, when you move to that
right.
next role.
Yeah,
So
maybe not expire, but yeah,
not
move on,
expire,
right?
but you move into that next role. You want to leave something behind that's like valuable and meaningful to the people that you've been working with. So that's
Yeah,
keeping it
that's
real
great.
is how I show up every day. That's my goal.
That's that's awesome. So yeah, that's a short snippet, because we're going to be diving into all this in the episode. But what's one practical thing that you did that others could borrow to build a high trust connected culture?
I would say, building into that empathy piece, because I think right now, I think we touched on this, but AI is obviously all over the place. Everyone's focused on it, and
Hmm.
empathy is the one human advantage that we have. And I've really dug into that with my organization. And so, for me, that's the ticket that really builds the trust and the accountability. It turns conflict into connections, right? If you've
Yeah.
got that empathy, you're listening, you're leaning in, you're building that connection, and it bridges that digital divide. So
Hmm.
um, I often say I choose to lead with heart and hustle. And that's because, people first,
Yeah.
performance with them, and not at them. And
Gotcha.
so I think that, empathy for as a focus as a leader has been really, really critical. One tool that has really helped us move that organization forward, especially during the tough, uncertain times we're in right now.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. In the episode, we talk about scary goals, condensing time frames. Obviously, you did this in 3 years, right? Can you give it like a quick example of, how you do that? How do you look at scary goals, and how do you condense time frames? Like the leaders maybe watching today, they might be able to try over the next week or so.
So I think a lot of us, when you think, okay, that we've got goals set up for 2026, for example, and you think, here's what I want to achieve, by breaking down the timelines and making sure that you hold yourself accountable to those timelines really helps you to achieve them that much quicker. Because realistically, we have a lot of things we want to do in 2026, but it's not going to take us the whole year to do them.
Yeah.
So I'm really clear with my teams around the time it's going to take. Like, for example, I'm writing this book, and I know you've written a book, and so we know that it doesn't take 5 years to write a book. So if you
Right.
give yourself a time frame, typically you can get it done in that time frame if you're really focused and intentional around the time that you're spending on it. And I'm
Yeah.
really focused on that right now, because the world is moving really fast, and so we need to
Mm.
get more done in a shorter period of time. And just by being real about how long does it actually take if our teams are focused on priority A, B, and C.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. When I was writing my book, people are like, "How long did it take you?" And my answer is always 2 years, but it was actually 3 months, because once
Yeah.
I started to get some deadlines, it was, it was a slog in the beginning, but once it was like my publisher was like, boom, 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 I was like, okay, so
Absolutely.
I think that's totally true. A lot of women, I think, out there, especially, a lot of leaders, especially women, I think, struggle with imposter syndrome, especially, like, our podcast is basically geared towards these younger leaders coming out. So men and women all have this kind of thing as they grow in leadership. What's a mindset shift you'd love them to kind of think about or walk away from after listening to the full episode?
So syndrome is actually really normal, and it's normal to be fearful or to think that maybe you don't fit, because that's actually means that you do fit in whatever room you're in or whatever table you're at. Because whatever role I've been in, I've always had to grow. If you're ready
Yeah.
for it, you're bigger than that. So if you're scared, you're stepping into something, into a room or into a role that you think is not for you, or you're not ready for it, it's perfect for you. So know that that
Yeah.
is normal. And that, if you can keep it real, knowing that, being resilient, taking the shot, taking the risk, you're going to learn. And that's going to
Yeah.
be far more valuable to you than if you don't step into that room or you don't step into that role. And one thing that I learned through my career is that never look at the person who had the role before and try to be like them, or,
Yep.
disqualify yourself because you're not like them. Because often
Right.
people are hiring you or wanting you in that room because you're different. So
Just
own your
right.
difference, right? Own
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
authenticity and just be you.
I
That's what I
love
would
it.
say.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love it. Well, we have a jam-packed episode with you airing on Monday, and hoping that people just really tune in and love what you have to say and all the nuggets and the lessons that we've learned. But I do want to ask you, what's the name of your book, and when do you think it's going to be published?
So the name of the book is Flip the Switch: From Playing It Safe to Crushing It. And it should be out in February. I don't have the exact date yet, but it's going to be around February 2026.
That's awesome. And we can find you on LinkedIn.
You can
Where?
find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on www.dianafioravanti.com, or on Facebook and socials.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, Diana, I am excited for our episode to drop. Thanks for stopping by and just kind of giving us a little preview of this episode. For those of you out there, make sure you subscribe to the People Profit Podcast and listen to the full episode with the amazing Diana. Thank you again so much. Have a great day.
Thanks, Sandra.